What's good, everyone? This is your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again. And this is where we at. As you can clearly see the title of the broadcast. Now, with this particular type of situation, I had to use Anton Daniels' broadcast with this particular situation. As we all know, Anton Daniels, he does like to leave a link to the individuals that he does commentary to, things like that. I did click the link so I could be able to do my own commentary personally, but obviously the page was closed and things like that. If you do click the link at the bottom of his video on this particular topic, you will see that the link is closed. Like, there's obviously the page has been deleted. So obviously, you know, this lady was getting a lot of blowback from this situation. So, but this is the thing at hand here. And she's talking about the situation where the lady called the 5-year-old a racial slur. And, you know, of course, we're going to hear what Anton had to say, a little bit what I have to say and things like that. And we're going to just dive off into this, people. So let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
Talk about Shiloh Hendricks, the woman who called a 5-year-old a racial slur. My first impression after watching the video, a little bit of white trash. I have to be honest, the kid was 5. I have worked with 5-year-olds for the last 15 years. Absolutely everything they do is out of pocket. They're like little unhinged drunk people. Nothing they do makes sense. A 5-year-old is capable of rifling through somebody's bag and taking things that don't belong to them. Ask any kindergarten teacher. But I realize why so many people are wanting to defend this, because Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. Ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman. But what she did is not praiseworthy. But also, on the same hand, please remember that every day that us white people get on this app, we get called racial slurs every single day. So if you don't want to be called a racial slur, you also have to stop calling people racial slurs. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. But for the love of God, please leave the children out of it. Adults.
Listen, look, before we keep going, let's just go here for what she said so far. Okay. And I definitely agree with that. Now, we do have this issue of freedom of speech. And sometimes, you know, our freedom of speech can go too damn far. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. It could go too damn far. It's that fine line between freedom of speech and you actually just spewing out words and slurs to, you know, individuals because you're emotional at the moment or you in your feelings. And we as humans are supposed to be capable of, you know, taking those emotions and feelings and put them in a certain box and making sure that we don't overly use them to where we can't use the logic in certain situations to where we need to, you know, have some type of understanding, maybe a little empathy, and, you know, try to, you know, work on ourselves to control ourselves as well. Now, I get it, you know, for the longest of time now, because I, you know, of course, you know, I'm Black. I grew up in the Black community and I hear it too, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how we as Black people talk about Caucasian people and things like that under the table, back and forth, things like that. And I'm just finna be honest and real with this shit, man. I mean, it's just the truth. You know, we've been doing this for quite some time now, and they haven't been, you know, and, you know, in person, you know, I'm pretty sure behind closed doors, you know, Caucasian people do talk different, but I'm just saying here now for face value, in person, yes, you know, nobody says anything like that or any type of racial slurs, but, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, white people are getting tired of being called saltines and other, you know, things like that. You know, I hate to say the words because I don't really say them myself, but I'm just saying, like, it's crazy to me that it has kind of been one-sided from my standpoint and from my view of what I've been seeing, you know, since the slavery situation and stuff like that. It has kind of been one-sided.
Are stupid. They're going to do stupid things. You're a different level of stupid when you bring kids into it. Thanks for coming to my
So basically, what this woman is saying is that two things could be true at the same time. And I said this the other day when this whole situation first broke out. And then we had the panel on Monday night where I basically said that white people are starting to get fed up. And that is the whole premise behind Black fatigue, is that nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable for things that their ancestors.
Ribeye must have cost a fortune.
Yep. And that's just the truth. Hold on, guys. Yeah. Sorry, they're giving me commercials like a mug here.
They tired of you blaming all of your failures and the things that you weren't able to accomplish on white people. They're tired of you sitting there saying that you're a victim every single day, regardless of what your circumstance is, regardless of what you've been given, regardless of all of the affirmative action, regardless of the fact that you're saying that you're the most educated, but really you're the most enrolled. They tired of you blaming your debt on the system. They tired of you saying that white men are the problem. They tired of you asking for programs, and they're tired of being held accountable for the decisions that you're making every single day.
She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hydrattery, animalistic. This is why people have Black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior. People do stupid stuff. People say stupid stuff. That's life. It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing. But here we are. People are getting sick and tired of opening up TikTok and seeing brawls on cruise ships, brawls in the airport, like literally the most ghetto behavior. We're tired. We're tired of it. But then whining and complaining and acting like it's not your fault that you act that way. Yeah.
Yo.
So what the French toast is going to think about?
Hold on. I don't know whether y'all saw it or not, but yeah, that brawl on the cruise ship, we all saw that. It's been a lot of things that we see on TikTok and stuff like that. You Black people, we see them too. We see them too. We see other Black people out here acting egregious, talking out the side of their necks all the time, doing all types of crazy stuff, not having emotional control. It's crazy to me. This is crazy. But we're supposed to be building communities and stuff like that, which we don't have a community anymore. Yeah, damn it, I'm going to say it. We don't. No community. Definitely not from the individuals I grew up with. You know, I grew up with old schools, you know what I'm saying, family, things like that, the Trinity. You know, I had all three of my fathers and I had all three of my mothers. And if you don't understand what that means, you know, say technically you're supposed to, you know, have, you know, your father's father, your mother's father, and your mother's mother, and your father's mother, which your grandparents on both sides, and then you're supposed to have your parents, which is your mother and your father. So, you know, and I call that the Trinity, you know, on both sides. But yeah, and this is how it goes. Now, you know, I get it. Some cases happen, you know, people die early, things like that, you know, but all I'm saying is though, is yes, you're supposed to have a family unit for the protection of the mental state of the family. Also to know who you are, where you come from, and also to be mentally stable so you won't go out here and crash out in the world. Now, it's a lot of crashing out going on. I definitely agree with her on that fact. Like, you know what I'm saying, that situation on the cruise ship, that was totally barbaric. That was idiotic. And I guarantee you, it's not just white people that are tired of this. It's other cultures and races and things like that. That's the reason why we get looked at sideways. That's the reason why collectively, you know what I'm saying, we get treated the way that we get treated, because we're always in the news for something stupid.
So what the French toast is going to think about?
Always. It's crazy out here.
And so that comment proved her right. And for whatever reason, y'all think that the white people don't have eyes, that people that are not Black don't have eyes, and they can't see how ghetto a lot of this is. And then I have to pay for it because I got to go outside and then account for what you did. People are tired in general. Black people, I'll just say this first. Let's start with the whole Shiloh, whatever her name is, situation, right? Because I'm not sure that I actually spoke on this outside of the panel. So let me address this. Again, more than one thing can be true at the same time. Was it right that they called the child the N-word? Absolutely not. That is already a given. I'm not sure that there's anybody that actually can justify why it would make sense to call a 5-year-old that name. 100%.
Right.
At the same time, if you're trying to understand why people are supporting this person, it's because they have black fatigue and they're tired of, I'll give you an example. And please miss me with all of the bullshit, always getting mad at me for explaining to you why other people may be seeing things a little bit differently because I decided to be objective enough to look at it from somebody else's perspective instead of just looking at it from the black hand side. Nobody want to hear that shit no more. And more importantly, nobody cares about what you think because realistically, it's been proven that nobody takes accountability, which means that you'll never have any power to do anything or say anything to anybody. You don't control nothing. You're not going to say anything. And so that's how it plays out. But the other side of it is that it's a little bit difficult to validate or justify it when everybody that is black then calls everybody that is black the same thing. So,
hey, listen, look, I definitely agree with that. Hold on. Yeah, they giving me commercials, but I definitely agree with that because we do that all the time as black people. You know what I'm saying? We throw out the N-word all the time to each other, things like that. It's crazy to me, but this is where we at right here. And this is the problem. Man, they are giving me super commercials on this one, man. Sorry, you guys, but yeah, they trying to do me in. You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
can't call it. And then we're going to change the definition of a word because we're going to say that we're using it as a term and endearment, but then we're going to not validate other people because we know what your intentions are behind it. Yes, we get it that they're having bad intentions as a result of it. But again, it starts to get a little bit old and a little bit tiring trying to hold other people accountable when we don't hold ourselves accountable. I'll give you another example. Every single time that there is a conflict, we always look to see whether it's a white person or a black person. I just recently looked at the press conference at the family of Tyree Nichols, who I can't justifiably say that the cops did everything that they're supposed to do in order to handle that situation right. We know that the cops did it wrong and they handled it wrong when it came to killing that boy, Tyree Nichols. I don't believe that the cops was right or wrong. That goes without saying. Anybody that's watched the footage know that he got his ass kicked. Didn't have a gun, didn't have any of these things. Obviously, 2 cops took the charge. It looks like 3 other cops got off. I don't know what I didn't follow the whole case, but I seen they got off. I don't think that they should have been completely not guilty about the whole thing. Of course not. Then they started making about race. And I was wondering to myself, okay, how is this one about race? Because it's all black cops. Oh, nope, got to go after the mayor, got to go after the police chief, got to go after everybody. Even though they got fired, even though all of this, they released the body cam footage immediately. Everybody, it's a race issue. The Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, it wasn't a student versus a student issue. Now it's a black versus white issue. Black Lives Matters, even though it was an organization that robbed people and it was proven to be fraudulent and they bought mansions off of y'all, but we painted the streets Black Lives Matters. And people came after Candace Owens, but now all of a sudden everybody want to wake up and say, you know what, I kind of rock with Candace Owens because she's finally critical of Trump, which she's been objective the whole time. She just didn't agree with y'all politics. But every single thing, we first have to find out, is it a white person? Is it anybody that's not black? Because guess what's going to happen? We are not going to hold ourselves accountable in any way, shape, or form. I just seen people justify the big black statue, the big black bronze statue in New York City, and we need representation of the black woman in there. And people are tired. People are absolutely tired. It's old. It is old as snow. Nobody cares anymore. And again, I don't know what y'all thinking. I don't know if y'all think that people don't have eyes, similar to what this woman said. Now they threatening her life. You're going to watch your back for the rest of your life. Does that make sense? And for some reason, somehow, y'all said that black people can't be racist. Where? Where can't you be racist? Y'all ever met Letitia James? Openly racist? Y'all ain't never seen D.L. Hughley? Openly racist? You ain't never met Michelle Obama? You ain't met any of these people that has had power that rally against and then rally for people that are married to white people, and then y'all try to justify it to say that they got a percentage of black in them, and then get the hell out of here. Y'all ain't never met some of these people that are some of the most powerful or they have the biggest voices in the world. Y'all ain't never met Charlemagne the God? Y'all ain't never seen that? Y'all ain't never seen none of these people operating and just moving around and doing what they want to do when they want to do it.
Yo, listen, look.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
And I had to let Anton cook for a minute here, of course. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. But this is the thing here. Yes, it's coming to a point here to where other cultures are definitely getting tired of, you know, our situation here in America as Black African Americans or Black people in America, however you want to put it. It's, you know, it's getting tiring. The fact that we have a, you know, a culture that's uncouth. We don't, you know, come together. We're not just really stable as a culture. We create a lot of chaos amongst ourselves. You know, yeah, we're not just running around here. You know, most deletions that happen in the Black community are Black on Black. So it's, you know, we're not doing anything, you know, en masse to anybody else. But, you know, it's the fact that we're doing these things to each other. And, you know, and then calling a lot of things, you know, racial issues like the Tyree Nichols situation that Anton spoke about. That was a whole, you know, Black on Black situation. And all of a sudden, you know, race got thrown into it. And like, I don't know how that's possible, but I guess you know, delusional ass people out there will find a way to make shit racial.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
You know, which is ridiculous to me. And but this is where we at here. This is where we at. And this is a clear warning sign that's to come. You know, these other cultures and races, or however you want to put it, you know, they're getting tired of the Black American stupidity. They're getting tired of us moving the way that we move. And you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You know, and a lot of Black people, we're tired of it as well. We're sick of the games. We're sick of the drills and the trash and these young people out here doing all these egregious things and stuff like that with no purpose, no honor, no type of thought process going on because of the lack of family structure and discipline. It's tiring, and it's time out for the games. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.